Zettel für die lange Weg. 2 Flaschen Whisky für die Zeit. Und ich date gern habe, du bist dabei. Maria geht, fahrt mal weg, ist weit. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht mehr, was ich mach, du sehst nicht mehr, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Hab kriegt mein Zettel für den langen Weg. Du schönste, als mir finden kann. Es hat Maria und Dale ganz wunderbar. Hass ich dir den weißen Dank. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht mehr, was ich mach, du sehst nicht mehr, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen.
Well. Gouda Obit, Leave a Light, and welcome back to another episode of PA Dutch Live. Boy, am I excited to be with you. I got my Santa Claus hat on because Santa Claus is on his way, and we ain't got long, my friends. Maybe the Belsnickels already visited your house and you're just waiting on Santa Claus, who's coming later on Christmas Eve, of course. Or if maybe you're just waiting on the Belsnickel because he hasn't showed up yet either. The Belsnickel was at my house back on the 6th of December, dropped off some very nice sweets for my kids, an orange and a little bit of chocolate. And then he snuck out the back door, took a shot of whiskey, and off he went. Good for the Belsnickel. Another year in the books, so to speak. We have a wonderful show coming at you tonight, a little bit pre-recorded because, and I'll explain why, our guest for the evening, but most of the show will be live as I'm with you right now. If this is your first time joining us, of course, welcome, Gouda Obit, Gouda Obit, and welcome for being with us. If you are joining us on the YouTube channel or over on the Facebook page, it doesn't matter where you're joining us from. In the comment section, let me know where you are joining us from so I can give you a shout out. Like these fine people, David from Boyerton is waving a hand. I'm waving right back at you, David. We have Seth Moak joins us every month. Gouda Obit und ein Freiliche Grischtdaag. Doug und alle Epper aus Durham, North Carolina. For those who can't speak or read Pennsylvania Dutch, good evening and a Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas to Doug, everybody else from Durham, North Carolina. Of course, the Wispessars, the banjo player, is in the house. I'm sure he is. I hope you guys are doing well and getting ready for Christmas. Our good friend and my distant cousin Carol says, good evening from chilly downtown Burnville. Hey, Carol, today was a little milder than it's been. So is it chilly? I don't know. I thought when I left work today, guys, and we'd had some really cold weather here where I live in central Pennsylvania, single digits in the morning. And today I walked out and it was almost 50. I felt like, oh my God, it's April. Derek Keller says, wie bist du und Hallicher Grischtdaag von Wind Gap? Hey, Derek, ich bin okay. Our good friend, the watercolor artist, Jeff Marks. I live near that long-bearded fellow musician over there in Myerstown. So glad to have you joining us, Jeff. Bird Mom 829. Why are you always live when I'm driving? Tisk. Why are you always driving when I'm live, Bird Mom? 829. I think that's the better question. Krista Moyer, hello from Midlothian, Virginia. Well, thanks for having us and joining us. BioT 2156. Todd in Tucson dropping in again to see what's up this month. Well, we got some good stuff coming at you, Todd. Just hold on. Bill aus Dillsburg, Hallicher Grischtdaag, alle Epper aus Yarrick County. We got Yarrick County joining in. Our good friend joins us every month, Brigitte Weinsteiger. Hello from Philly. Sounds good. We got Dolly Moyer. Hello from Fleetwood in beautiful Berks County, Pennsylvania. Glad you're joining us again, Dolly. Am I going to see you on Christmas Eve at church? I hope so. Give me a shout out if you see me. User and then all those numbers. Gouda Obit aus der Pals. Oh, that's our good friend Andy. Hey, Andy Schaefer, how are you, my friend? Is everything pretty and snowy over in the Pfalz? Let us know. Are you ready for the Belsnickel? Our good friend Norman, Gute Maria aus dem Alderland. We also got Germany represented here with Norman. Norman, I'm going to personally thank you on the live show for the package that came to my house yesterday. Norman sent me a big box of chocolates and candies from Germany. What a surprise. And a good one, to say the boot. Danke, groß Dank, Norman. Bob Heinzelman in Clanton, Alabama. Bob, thanks for joining us from the deep south down there. Bachfeuer, Ed aus Erster Stadt. That's Delaware, my friends. He's from the first state. Ed, good to see you. Don Moyer joins us almost every month. Ich wohne in Midlothian, Virginia. And finally, Jason Trotman, wie bist from Danville, Pennsylvania. Hey, ich bin all recht, Jason. A lot of people joining us. If I didn't give you a shout out and you're still watching, but throw a comment in the comment section. Do not better. But let's get to right here. For example, Steve from New Bern, North Carolina. Good holidays to all. Steve Kohler, I guess. There, Kohler at P2P. Thanks for joining us, Steve, down there in beautiful North Carolina. My goodness. Well, we have a great show coming at you here tonight, folks. We have a good friend, Dr. Michael Werner, who's been a friend of mine and a colleague for God knows how long, a long time. We're talking decades, my friends, decades. And some of you know him, and if not, you're going to get to know him tonight. But Dr. Werner lives in Germany. And when I asked him about being on the show, he said, I'll be on the show, but I'm not going to stay up till midnight to go live. And I said, no problem. We'll pre-record your interview. So that's what we did. About a week ago, on a Sunday afternoon, normal time for him, we sat down and recorded the interview you're going to see tonight. So I'll be showing that here in a little bit. So he's not going to be with us live in the show, but he is going to be with us nonetheless. Doug Dockey joins us from Graz. Hey, Doug, good to have you on and watching tonight. A couple things that we always like to get out of the way right off the bat, and that is our sponsor for this month. This month's episode is brought to us by the fine people at Clay and Main in Ole, Pennsylvania. It's a nice little cool bookshop, and they have a lot of other things beyond books. The next time you find yourself in beautiful downtown Ole, swing on into Clay and Main. They have some really cool Pennsylvania Dutch stuff there that you can check out. So some stuff for your calendars, for your Pennsylvania Dutch calendars. First and foremost, our good friends at Historic Trap have just begun their latest, what's the word I want to say here? There's a word I can't think of it. Show. I'll use show. That's not the right word though. Anyway, they are doing a massive exhibition. That's the word. Exhibition on Pennsylvania Dutch redware, or southeastern Pennsylvania redware. I was talking to the curator, a good friend of ours and a good friend of the channel, Christopher, and he said, Doug, it's the best collection ever put together. Now, how about that? He said there are some extremely rare pieces that they have on loan from other museums or private collections that you would never get to see. So make your way down to Trap. You have until the end of March to check it out. But if you are in the area, or if you're would like to take a day trip down to Trap, go down and see it. It is fantastic and stuff you'd never see anywhere else. And they do wonderful work down there. Lisa Minardi and Christopher Malone are doing wonderful work down there in Trap. So go and support them, please. Another thing for your calendars, Historic Ephrata Cloister every year does lantern tours throughout the winter. And this year they have a couple on the calendar now, December 26th and the 27th, so the 2 days after Christmas, and also the 2 days after New Year, January 2nd and January 3rd. But reserve your spot because those fill up fast, and you get an evening tour of the cloister. And this year they're specifically looking at 1777, when war came to Ephrata. Of course, with the 250th anniversary of America here right around the corner, a lot of locations are looking back to the Revolution era and telling their stories. So you can hear Ephrata's what role Ephrata played during the Revolution, specifically in 1777. So if you're in the area, check it out. Oh, we got another person joining us, Lynn Erdman Heinold from Indian Mills, New Jersey, via Steinsburg, Bucks County. Well, Lynn, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you popping on the show. If you've always wanted to learn Pennsylvania Dutch, but you thought, I'll never be able to do that because how am I supposed to do it? Once again, our good friends at the Berks History Center going into the new year are continuing their online and in-person Pennsylvania Dutch classes. Winter 2026 course registration is now open. Again, you can take these courses via Zoom. So no matter where you live, you can have access to learning Pennsylvania Dutch. They have a beginner's level, an intermediate level, and an advanced level. If you'd like to learn more, visit the Berks History Center's website or their Facebook page, where you can register for the classes, get signed up, and then starting in January, you'll be all ready to hit the ground running, learning Pennsylvania Dutch. Joe Huddleston's joining us from windig, Missoula, Montana. Holy moly. I bet it is. Is it cold and snowy out there in Montana? That's what we want to know, Joe. Let us know. I also would like to give a shout out. That's it for the calendar. Well, no, I got one more thing in the calendar, but I do want to share these two photos. Those of you joining me tonight from Berks County probably saw this because it made the social media rounds when this first came out. If you're not familiar, in Pennsylvania, every county, in honor of the 250th anniversary of America for 2026, is unveiling a bell, bell across. I don't know if every state's doing this, but Pennsylvania is absolutely doing it. And each county is unveiling a Liberty bell or Liberty style bell that is painted and decorated to match something historical or something unique to that county. Well, Berks County unveiled theirs a couple of weeks ago. And I'm so glad that they gave the nod to our Pennsylvania Dutch heritage. As you can see, here is the bell. It is in beautiful blue, red, white, and blue. But if you notice, especially in the picture on the right, you can see the hex sign motif very much at play, giving homage to our Pennsylvania Dutch heritage. So shout out to Berks County for whoever designed that bell and for the county for supporting that design to honor our heritage as well as the history of the United States. One more thing for your calendar. I lied. There's one more thing. And I've been announcing this the last couple of months, but the Pennsylvania German Sommerlauf and the good people that organize that have two events coming up in the new year. Saturday, January 31st is the 7th annual Grundsaal Lodge for Junge, or the Groundhog Lodge for kids. So if you have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews that are interested or you'd like to get them to know a little bit more about Pennsylvania Dutch, go visit this wonderful event at Zion United Methodist Church of Iona. That's in right around Lebanon, Pennsylvania on the 31st of January. And then on the 21st of March, go back for the annual Pennsylvania German Sommerlauf, which is for all ages, history, language, genealogy, fun, food, everything you want Pennsylvania Dutch related. Gets you a little, break up those cabin fever blues that you might have by January and March. Get out and put those on your calendar. Hopefully you can visit those. Every month I do a hee-haw style salute to some town in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch community or area. And tonight we go to New Holland or New Holland, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Big shout out to them. Founded in 1728 with a current population, according to what I could see online, of around 5,762. Of course, a lot of people around the world know New Holland for their tractors. When I was in Brazil in October, we were at a sugarcane plantation, or not plantation, a farm, and they had a brand new Holland tractor. And I was like, do you know better? I'm home. So people around the world know New Holland for their tractors, of course, but we in Pennsylvania know it as a great little town in Lancaster County. Our good friend Jason Searock's joining us. Brother Lurch, he was on the show earlier this year. Alice Telfer, just back from the German Christmas markets. Jason, Brother Lurch, excuse me. I saw your photos on Facebook. It looked like you had a great time. Glad you were able to enjoy German Christmas markets. People, if you ever are planning a trip and you'd like to do something a little different, Germany this time of year is Germany, Switzerland, Austria, France are beautiful this time of year, and just to go to experience these Christmas markets are worth the trip. Trust me. All right, it's time to get to our guest for the evening. This month, we welcome on, as I said, a dear friend and someone that maybe many of you have heard his name before, but maybe you never met him, or maybe you did meet him. He makes a lot of trips here to the United States, and that is Dr. Michael Werner from Germany, and he is the founder of the newspaper, the bilingual, well, not bilingual, the Pennsylvania Dutch language newspaper, Hiwwe Driwwe, and maybe you've heard of that. Of course, we've had two movies that have taken that name to use as well, and we have the newspaper, which is still in publication, and we're going to I talked to Michael about his whole story. How did he ever get involved in how did this guy from southwestern Germany learn about the Pennsylvania Dutch? Why did he decide to dedicate so much of his life to working with our culture and our language? So that we're going to cover all that in the interview. Fascinating story. So if you would just give me, real quick, Faye is joining us. Krankenschwester Faye. Nurse Faye is joining us. Well, Faye, thanks for joining us. So I need to switch screens here really quickly. If you give me 1 second, and then we will get to Michael Werner's interview. All right, see if I can do this. All right, I'll meet you on the other side. All right, everybody, I am here with our guest for the month, Dr. Michael Werner, a good friend of the channel, our YouTube channel, someone I've known for many, many years, and it's a pleasure to work with him. And I was able to get him on the show to talk a little bit about all the work that he's done for Pennsylvania Dutch over the decades. Michael, welcome to PA Dutch Live.
Thank you for inviting me.
We have you, we're pre-recording this, everybody, because of the time difference. Michael does live in Germany, in the region where a lot of Pennsylvania Dutch ancestors come from. And I didn't want him to stay up till after midnight when we go live. So we pre-recorded this conversation. But
that's one of my requests to start with.
That was in his rider for the show, everybody. That, along with the brown M&Ms, the story that we all know with these riders. Michael, I'd like to start, and I know this story, but not everybody watching the show knows. So you're a German. You grew up and live in this region of Germany where we came from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So how did you ever come into contact with the Pennsylvania Dutch?
Well, I have two grandmothers who used to live in small villages in the Palatinate, and I was baptized in this village, Ebertsheim, but I was raised in a bigger city in Frankenthal. It's a city of about 50,000 people. And whenever we visited our grandparents in Ebertsheim, I found out that the language of the dialect of my grandmothers and grandfathers was different from mine. So they spoke a different kind of Palatine dialect. And I got interested very, very early. So they ran farms. They had a couple of fruit trees, cherry trees, or orchards. You say in English, I guess, Baumgarten or Bungert. So a lot of neighbors would come in summer and had to get all the cherries and the apples and the peaches and bring them to the local markets. And I really loved that as a small boy, to hear the people talking the dialect and how they told their stories. And when I studied in Mannheim linguistics later, I did an MA thesis on the French loanwords in the Palatine dialects. And if you want to find out when a French loanword came into the Palatine dialect, we have to check whether the emigration societies in Pennsylvania, Brazil, Eastern Europe have a French word or not. And that was the first occasion when I learned something about the Pennsylvania Dutch, and that was around 1990, I guess, 1991, like something like that. So, and after that, after I had finished my MA thesis, my professor made the suggestion that I write a PhD. And he asked me for the topic, and I said, well, I would like to go to the US. And I would like to do a PhD on Pennsylvania Dutch. And the first idea was, can I get into contact with Amish with the help of the dialect? That was the first idea.
So I have a picture I want to share, and I want you to talk about the gentleman that's in this picture with you.
Well, this is a good friend of ours, C. Richard Beam, and that was on the day of his 90th birthday in 2015. And,
so when you came over here at the beginning, did you get into were you able to make contact with Dick Beam, and was he able to help you navigate the world of Pennsylvania Dutch?
Yeah. Well, we exchanged a couple of letters, and I told him that I would like to study the dialects of the living dialect authors. And he said, well, that's a good idea, but you will find maybe 5 or 6. And so I started, and in the end, I found about 28 or so. And I asked them to send me poems and stories and theater plays, and I analyzed those texts as a linguistic corpus, and I tried to find out whether there's a difference in the influence of English, whether it is a poem or a story or a theater play, and that was very interesting. So in the beginning, my main focus was Lancaster County because Dick Beam was living there. So he got me into contact with Amish, with Mennonites, Ephrata, Lancaster County, of course. And when he got older, my main focus changed. So I got into contact with Patrick Donmoyer, and when I started to play music again, folk music. So my interest was to go to the folk festival.
Mm-hmm. So in 1997, you made a decision to create a newspaper in Pennsylvania Dutch, and you called it Hiwwe Driwwe. So what led you to want to do this and create this newspaper?
I was in contact with these 28 Pennsylvania Dutch authors. And when I had finished my PhD, I said, well, it's done. So I will do something else. And they said, well, that's a pity because, well, we live apart from each other just 10 or 15 miles, but we don't know each other because there's no newspaper that accepts Pennsylvania Dutch poems and stories. There are columns in local newspapers, but we don't get it. It's the situation in the US is that the local newspapers have a limited spread, yeah, and that's completely different in the Palatinate. We just have one newspaper, Die Rheinpfalz, for the whole Palatinate, 1 million people, yeah. And that's completely different in Pennsylvania. And so I said, well, I'm working for the Rheinpfalz as a journalist, a freelancer, and I can try to start something like that, a small Rheinpfalz newspaper in Pennsylvania, an international local newspaper. That was the idea, to bring together dialect authors in Pennsylvania, but also authors from Pennsylvania and the Palatinate, from over here and over there.
So this has been going on now for over 25 years. In 2022, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the newspaper, and a really nice hardbound cover edition of all of the newspaper's editions are in this new book, 25 Jahre Hiwwe Driwwe, and it is available, and I'll have links in the show notes for everybody if anybody would like to order the book. But did you ever think that this little newspaper would make 25 years?
Never, of course, but it was well received, and we started with 100 copies, just the first issue and the second issue, and then after a couple of years we were up to 2,000 copies. And to be honest, I have no idea how many copies Patrick Donmoyer is actually printing, but it's still running, and I'm very thankful for that. The editorial business has moved. As you know, the office has moved from Germany, from Oberolm to Kutztown a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2015. And I'm very thankful that the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center is still doing it.
So what do you think the greatest thing to come out of that little newspaper has been? Is it the connections that people have been able to make? Is it the idea that you have been able to have a written record of all of this literature? Or, you know, when looking back on it all now, more than 25 years now, what do you think the greatest contributions that this little newspaper has made to Pennsylvania Dutch?
As you know, we have a German-speaking area in eastern France. It's Alsace and Lorraine, and it's just on the other side of the Rhine if you live in Baden-Württemberg, and just at the Rhine is the border between France and Germany, and you have German-speaking people on both sides of the Rhine, although they are living in separate countries, France and Germany. And the initial idea was to handle the newspaper the same way, to do it like Pennsylvania and the Palatinate are just separated not by an ocean, but just by a small river. And so you're neighbors, yeah, of ours. And that was the idea.
And do you think we've accomplished that?
Yeah, I think so. And the main outcome was probably that people are interested to get into contact with each other on both sides of the Atlantic. We've started multiple projects in the last 30 years: sister city partnerships, school partnerships, movies, music programs and shows and tours. And so, yes, I would say. So I just have thrown a stone into a pond, and it made some waves, and so
yeah, it does.
I'm very happy. Yeah.
So you mentioned music. So you, one of the many projects that you are involved in is that you have a folk band called New Pulse that sings and performs traditional folk music, and a lot of your repertoire, a lot of your songs are in Pennsylvania Dutch. So a question as an American maybe would be thinking, okay, we have a band in Germany that's performing in Germany and they're singing songs in Pennsylvania Dutch. How do the people that come to your shows react? Is it something that they are surprised by, or is it something that they find really interesting? Or how does the crowd react when a bunch of Germans get up on stage and play Pennsylvania Dutch music?
In the beginning, there was not that much interest to see it and hear it because people didn't know. But after the documentaries have been in the cinemas, the interest rose. And so when we play, we have always a good audience. And people are very interested to find out whether they can understand the dialect or not.
Okay.
That's one of the main reasons. And the stories, of course. We tell a lot of stories of the Pennsylvania Dutch, funny stories also, Groundhog Lodge stories, and people love that.
Yeah, they do. They do. Another project I want to talk about really quickly that you did a couple of years ago is that you wrote, essentially for us as Americans, we would think of this as a travel guide, but it's a travel guide written for Germans to come to Pennsylvania. And what Dr. Werner has done is he's I mean, in his 30 years of traveling back and forth between Pennsylvania and Germany, he has essentially made a list of all the things that a person should see when they come here, if they're a German. So one question I have for you, because for many Americans or for many people in Pennsylvania, they might find this interesting or maybe even a little weird. Why would Germans want to come to Pennsylvania? So I guess I'll ask that question first. When you wrote this book, why did you want to get people? Why did you think it was important for Germans, for Pfälzer, to travel to Pennsylvania?
Because I think we can learn a lot about ourselves when we visit Pennsylvania. And it's because you are living in a kind of time capsule. Yeah. Yeah. You may not know it, but that's the way it is. Yeah. Because your ancestors have brought the Palatine culture of the 1750s to the United States. And you still have a lot of cultural patterns of this time, which we have lost due to industrialization and the wars. So we dropped those patterns and picked up new ones. So we don't know much about ourselves. And if we look to Pennsylvania, to Ontario, to the Germans in Brazil, or to the German societies in Eastern Europe, for example, in Poland, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, we can learn a lot about ourselves because those societies, the German societies there, have kept old cultural patterns that we have lost.
Well, I know that your book has been successful because on more than one occasion, I have met and ran into Germans in Pennsylvania because they had read the book and they were checking out the places that you had written about and why they should go see it. So from a Pennsylvania standpoint, thank you for bringing people to Pennsylvania. But I think it's important for us to hear that, because I think you're right. Most Pennsylvania Dutch really don't understand how we are a time capsule. And I think we would find it very interesting or surprising that Germans could come here to learn about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question, I'll turn it around then to you. If someone in Pennsylvania, a Pennsylvania Dutch person, maybe they don't speak the language, but they grew up with the food and the traditions. And what do you say to them about coming to the Pfalz?
Well, I think most Americans come for to learn something about their family genealogy. They work on a family tree, for example. They want to visit Switzerland if they have Mennonite background or Amish background. But I would say come to the Palatinate because we share so many cultural patterns, and you will feel at home. You know that. Yeah. If you come here, it doesn't take long until you feel at home here too. That's the same when I come to Pennsylvania, of course. It doesn't. It just takes 10 minutes and the first hex signs on barns, and I feel at home. Yeah. And I've been to Pennsylvania, I don't know, maybe 15 times in the last 30 years. And I think it's time to come back.
Yeah, it is time to come back. Absolutely, Michael. You are always welcome here. One last thing we want to talk about really quickly, and this is your latest project that you've been working on. Michael just finished a book that came out. Now, this is all in German, but it is all about the story of the Elbedritch, which we as Pennsylvania Dutch people, of course, are very familiar with. So I guess I want to ask you just a couple quick questions about this book. First off, just in case anyone out there watching the show doesn't know, are there Elbedritche in Germany?
Of course they are, and in the Palatine Woods, of course, and they go on Elbedritch huntings.
Very similar to the tradition that we have, right? So
especially during the wintertime and during the night, of course.
So this book that you set out to write, I guess my first question is, why did you want to write and research about these birds, these whatever Elbedritche are? What made you want to do this?
I never had the idea to do it.
Okay.
But after traveling through Pennsylvania for 30 years, I found so many hints what Elbedritche really are in your area. That from one moment to another, it made sense. You need Braucherei, Powerwing. You need the hex signs. You need your traditions of Elbedritche hunting, of course, and some more. And it all belongs together to solve the riddle, the problem, what the Elbedritche really are. And it was possible to open a door in Pennsylvania, and it brought me to a very narrow path. And I walked this path back to Europe, and from Europe to Rome, and from Rome to Mesopotamia. And the solution was there, in Mesopotamia, in Babylon. And that was amazing. But the main reason why we have the Elbedritche is a medical phenomenon that we call sleep paralysis. Mm-hmm. And sleep paralysis is a problem of the waking process. If the mind is waking up quicker than the body, so the mind can already see or feel or hear something, and the body is still paralyzed, like in the sleep. And in some people have the feeling that they are unable to breathe. It's like if somebody is sitting on their chest and doesn't let them breathe. And they have thought that this must be a demon. And this demon has a lot of different names in different societies, antique societies. It was Lilith in Jewish tradition. They called it Lamia in Rome, and what else? Different names. But it's always the same. And in the German areas, they call it Alben and Trude. And it became the Albtrude. And the Albtrude was, in a long cultural process, was diminished and banished to the forest. And the Albtrude became the Elbedritche. So we kind of banished our own fears of the night in the woods. And we go there from time to time to check whether the fears are still there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's very complicated, but
yeah, I'm sure, and I know
Yeah.
from following you on social media, and
Yeah.
Michael's been going around doing a book tour essentially, and giving lots of talks about this stuff that he's researched, and I'm hoping at some point we can get somewhere down the road maybe a little more of an English version, or a version for Americans to read, because I think a lot of Pennsylvania Dutch would find this absolutely fascinating, that this little creature that we think that we joke about and we tell stories about has this really, really, really long, deep cultural history that goes, as you said, as far back as Mesopotamia. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, Michael, we're kind of getting to the end of our time here, but I just want to say, as someone that has working with Pennsylvania Dutch language and culture for as long as I have, you have always been someone for a lot of us here to look up to. You started things. You got the ball rolling. You created the newspaper. You then moved into the online world as the internet started to take off, and you've continued to not only build bridges between Pennsylvania and Germany, but you are always looking to how we can make those bridges bigger and stronger. And I mean, I can't thank you enough for all of the work that you have done over the last 30 years, and the connections that you've made with so many of us here on our side of the little river that is dividing our two countries. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the work that you have done, the work that you continue to do, because you've done a lot, and it needs to be celebrated. It absolutely needs to be celebrated.
Well, Grischtdaag, it has been a pleasure. Really. Thank you.
It has been a pleasure to have you on the show. Everybody, Michael Werner from Germany. I'll have links to all of his stuff. If you read German, you can read his Elbedrich book. It's in German. And also a link to the book for the 25th anniversary of Hiwwe Driwwe. And I can also get everyone the subscription form so that you too can get your own copy of our biannual Hiwwe Driwwe newspaper that comes out twice a year. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be airing here in about a week. So I will say, from our side of the ocean, from the Belsnickel, Hallicher Grischtdaag und ein glückseliges Neujahr. Ich wünsche euch and your beautiful family, and I look forward to talking to you again in the very near future.
Grischtdaag und alles Beste zu alle Jepper im neuen Land. Sehen euch wieder.
Sehen euch wieder. Well, there we go, people. Hopefully you enjoyed my conversation with Dr. Michael Werner. Some of you do know him. Some of you have met him. He's been at the Folk Festival many years. He's performed at the Folk Festival. He's been to Groundhog Lodges. He really is an expert on the Pennsylvania Dutch culture and language because he's lived it for so long. And a lot of things that he said are so true. Until you've gone over to Germany and realized that there is this hunger and this desire for all things Pennsylvania Dutch over there. And we are a way. Us here in Pennsylvania are a way for those Germans to learn about their own culture, which it sounds so crazy when you hear it, but it's true. As Michael said, we really are sort of like a time capsule. We have some certain things that we continue to do that are hundreds of years old here in America that have died out in Germany because of the history and just all that has happened in the last 300 years in that country. And Germans can come here to learn their own story. How fascinating is that? And the work he's doing will continue to allow Germans and encourage Germans to do that. But I would also encourage all of you to go the other way across the bridge. I've talked about it before. It is a fulfilling experience to go to the region where we come from and to experience, walk these streets, see these old buildings that your 8th great grandfather or 9th great grandmother would have seen with their own eyes hundreds of years ago. And you will feel at home. I promise you, you will feel at home. So a big shout out to Michael Werner for joining us. Of course, you can follow along on all of his things on social media. If you just look for Hiwwe Driwwe, of course, or Michael Werner, he's on Facebook and Instagram, and he's doing a lot about this new book about the Elbedrich, which is fascinating. I have a copy. I read it. But again, it's only available in German right now. But if you speak English, if you speak German, absolutely, I would order a copy. It's great. But I'm hoping, and we were talking after the interview was over, that I'm hoping that at some point we can get an English version because I know that you guys would really enjoy it. I have a couple people that need to give a shout outs to real quick before we move on. Our good friend Richard Mamana. Hallo von Deitstädel from Germantown, just outside of the greater Philadelphia City area. Good to see you, my friend. Lenora joins us almost every month. Good evening from Florida. Guy Haas says hello. We got tons of people here. Greg 117. Guten Abend, wie geht's? Frohe Weihnachten und gute Wünsche. It's all about good evening. How's it going? A Merry Christmas and great good wishes to everybody. We got Luann joining us from Manchester, Maryland. Where else we got coming on here? Mittelpunkt Candy in der Haus says Tin Can 21ify, I don't know, Lify. And this comment here is long and it's in German, so I'm just gonna say at user Q8NL3XZ5X. Sounds like one of Elon Musk's kids' names. I'm not going to address this question here. Send me an email, info@padutch101.com with that same question, and then we'll get in contact and we'll talk about it. Because it'll take me a little bit to respond to this, and we want to keep the show going. So shoot me an email. That goes for all of you. If you ever have a question about anything Pennsylvania Dutch related, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, info@padutch101.com, and I will get back to you. I promise you that. We're going to keep right on trucking, my dear friends. Every month I try to bring something Pennsylvania Dutch language related. This month is no different. And we turn back again to my favorite Pennsylvania Dutch poet, and that's John Birmelin, who lived from 1873 to 1950. And it is Christmas. It's December. The Belsnickel has been running around, and he wrote a fantastic poem called Der Belsnickel. I have the Pennsylvania Dutch on the left. That's what I'll be reading. The English on the right. Follow along in whichever language you feel comfortable with. Here we go. Der Belsnickel. Am Grischtdaag, do kommt als der Belsnickel bei. Was sind doch die Kinder so froh? Man schickt sie ins Bett, dann schlafen sie ein. Und Marius, do war schon do. Na, wann mal der Belsnickel etwa vergesst, zähl he sich mal gar nicht so schön. Das war wieder eins von der Arme gewesen. Oh ja, so kann man verstehen. Kein Schuh an de Fies, kein Kohle im Haas, und hen hast hier gar nichts zu leben. Der Winter ist hart, das findet man wohl aus. Die Arme, die kommen daneben. Grischkindl ist Kummer, war selber so arm. Sein Bett war im Stall, vom Stroh. Es bringt uns der Friede, uns hat's wat im Warm, was viele die Menschen so froh. Und weißt du von Arme, so steh nicht doch bei. Es hat jo so viel in der Welt. Dann geht das Grischkindl an dir nicht vorbei. Es bringt dir mehr Glück wie dein Geld. Good old John Birmelin. Just can't beat that guy. You just can't beat that guy. I'm telling you. One of my favorites. So we also try to bring you a music video every month, and we're going to keep it local this time. A song that my buddy Chris and I, we are the Broken Spokes. Now we are a trio, but when we recorded this, we were just a duo. A couple of years ago, we took the traditional Christmas song Mele Kaliki Maka, which is Richard Birmelin is best. You got that right. It's a great hashtag. Started using it. We took the popular Christmas song Mele Kaliki Maka, which is that song about Christmas in Hawaii, but we stole that tune, and we wrote our own Pennsylvania Dutch version called Hallicher Grischtdaag. So if you give me a minute to change screens again, and pull this up. We're going to watch this video really quickly because it's fun. Share screen. I have to talk through it. Here we go. And I'm going to go full screen, and I'm going to pull myself out. Enjoy Hallicher Grischtdaag, sung by me and Chris, the Broken Spokes. Hey, Dutchies, Doug and Chris here. It is the holiday season. I got my Christmas Santa Claus hat on, and we thought we'd give you a little bit of a Christmas treat. Oh, boy. There's this famous Christmas song called Mele Kaliki Maka. It's the Hawaiian Christmas
PA
song.
Dutch song.
Well, I turned it into a PA Dutch song, so we're going to do our version of Mele Kaliki Maka, but it's Hallicher Grischtdaag.
Oh,
because that's what we say in Pennsylvania Dutch. Think you can do this, Chris?
I hope so.
Can you sound Hawaiian?
Yeah, all right.
Got my ukulele. Got my Santa Claus hat on. All right, here we go. Hallicher Grischtdaag is a thing to say on a PA Dutch Christmas Day. That's the Deutsche greeting that we send to you from the land where hex signs play. Here we know the Belsnickel will visit you
He'll hit you once and give a gift, that's how we do. Hallicher Grischtdaag is the PA Dutch way to say Merry Christmas to you. How about sing one with me? Hallicher Grischtdaag is the thing to say on a PA Dutchy Christmas Day. Christmas Day! That's the Deutsche greeting that we send to you from the land where hex signs play. Here we know the Belsnickel will visit you. He'll hit you once and give a gift, that's how we do. Hallicher Grischtdaag is the PA Dutch way to say Merry Christmas to you. Now everybody! Hallicher Grischtdaag is a thing to say on a PA Dutchy Christmas Day. Christmas Day! That's the Deutsche greeting that we send to you from the land where hex signs play. Here we know the Belsnickel will visit you. He'll hit you once and give a gift, that's how we do. Hallicher Grischtdaag is the PA Dutch way to say Merry Christmas to you. To say Merry Christmas to you. Hallicher Grischtdaag, Aliapa. Everybody, Hallicher Grischtdaag.
Well, there we go, people. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Hallicher Grischtdaag. That's a fun one. I really enjoyed writing that song. We had a lot of fun with it. We played it last week or 2 weeks ago at Christmas on the Farm there in Kutztown, and the people gave us a pretty big applause when that one was over. Got them clapping. We are almost to the end of the show, but a couple things I'd like to give you some shout outs real too quick. I think I caught everybody up in the no. I got some other people here. Tin Can says, Hallicher Grischtdaag, Sender Condi. Oh my gosh, wo ist der Mittelpunkt? Well, I'm in Center Condi too, Tin Can. Hey, we're the Mittelpunkt. I've always told the Mittelpunkt was in Belfont, the big town of Belfont. They're the middle point of the state. We'll see. John Kim also joins us and says, Mark Scoot from Texas. Man, we are all over the map tonight. This is wonderful. Courtney's joining us from Indiana, Condi, Pennsylvania as well. This is just wonderful, good stuff we got going on. But we are coming to the end of the show, and it might be a little too late to order anything from our shop, but for Christmas anyway. I don't think you'll get it in time. However, remember our gift shop as you go into the new year, birthdays, anniversaries, or you just want to give somebody a gift, or you want to get yourself a gift. Get your own PA Dutch themed merch by going to Zazzle.com/PA Dutch 101. And you guys are going to be the first to see it. I have 2 new products that are available now on the website. And they make me, I'm so happy about these. The black shirt in the middle, you can now get that says, I've been to Charlottesville. You laugh, but if you've been to Charlottesville, you want to wear that shirt. You can change the color of the shirt too on the website. It's a little bit, you have the opportunity to do that. Also, play more Boomba. We need more Boomba in this world. I think some of the reasons we got all the crap we're going on right now with world wars and everything else that's going on, we don't have enough Boomba. Get a Play More Boomba t-shirt, wear that proudly in public, and then maybe we can start turning things around. Those are the types of things, along with baby onesies and bibs and oh my gosh, whatever all else. We got t-shirts, we got stickers, we got magnets, we got all that stuff. Check it out at our Facebook, it's not at our Facebook page, at our website, Zazzle.com/PA Dutch 101. There's a lot of Carol says, I was in Charlottesville today. See, Carol, now you need the t-shirt. Oh, we got 2 more people joining us. Guten Abend from Missouri. Hey, Eli Schwartz, 81212. Thanks for joining us. And Greg 117 says, cool, catching my first live. Hey, man, thanks for joining us, Greg. Let us know where you're joining us from. Steve has also enjoyed my first live cast. How can I follow? YouTube. Click the subscribe button, and we got 1,000 there's over 1,000 videos on the YouTube channel, everybody, that you can catch up on, language related, history related, I don't know, everything related Pennsylvania Dutch. Check it out. Of course, you can also follow on I'll talk about our social media stuff here in a minute. We are yeah, we're getting to the end here, people. If you like what we're doing here and you'd really like to financially support us and our endeavors here, you have two ways that you can do that. Mid-Health is the way for the way in Pennsylvania to say it, to help with, right? Buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Doug Mainford. You can go there and throw me $5. That'll put some gas in the Subaru to go to the next Pennsylvania Dutch event, or get a new camera so that I look prettier, because we need all the help we can get. But you can also become a monthly patron at our Patreon. That's patreon.com/PA-101 for as little as $1 a month. All money that is raised through the Buy Me a Coffee or the Patreon accounts goes purely to the upkeep of the channel and for the preservation of the work that we're doing for our Pennsylvania Dutch culture and history and language. I'd like to give a quick shout out to some people that have supported us financially in the past, in the recent past: Gary and Deanna Weaver, Glenn Ritter, Nathan Seeger, Seth Moak, Devin Miller, Norman Jung, Grunsalach Numatsea, Norman Berger, David Hunsinger, Dolly Moyer, Gary Johansson, Gail Spilsbury, Derek Deeds, Tim Dedman, and Lamont Broadhead. Thank you so much for your financial support. And for those of you that are out there on social media, you can also follow along all the good things we're doing: Facebook, Instagram, and X. Just look for @PA-101. Give us a like, follow along. We got tons of great content that we post right now on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, I'm posting a video a day in the countdown to Christmas, and they're always Pennsylvania Dutch Christmas related. We had Away in a Manger earlier this week that you can learn how to sing Away in the Manger. We got other songs coming up and some other really cool stuff to check out. So give a like on Facebook there, and you'll get updates every time we post something new, as well as the YouTube channel, of course. We also have a website. Check out our website, PA-101.com, where you can book me for a public event if you'd like me to come speak or entertain. Chris and I'll come play Pennsylvania Dutch music, tell some stupid jokes, because that's what we love, us Pennsylvania Dutch. We like to laugh. But all those things are available, and all of the services, translation services, etc., are all available over through our website. That's PA-101.com. Mark your calendars, because we got the January episode of PA Dutch Live will be on Wednesday, January the 14th. 2026. Oh my gosh, get used to saying it, people. And we're going to be welcoming on Diane Wenger, who is one of the leaders at Historic Schaefferstown. So she's going to be joining us to tell us the whole story of Historic Schaefferstown, who they are, what do they do, what's the story. It's going to be a very interesting episode. Historic Schaefferstown is in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. If you've never been, they have events throughout the year. She's going to tell us all about that and all of the good things that they are doing there in Schaefferstown, because they do a lot of really, really great Pennsylvania Dutch themed things throughout the year. And they have a lot of cool things to check out there. So definitely mark your calendars, 14th of January, when we'll be back with our next edition of PA Dutch Live. Till then, dear friends, though, it's going to be a month, but there's a lot of things happening between now and then. Between now and then, I hope that all of you stay healthy. The flu that's going around is not good. My daughter right now is upstairs with a nasty case of strep throat. You don't want what that's going around either. Trust me. So stay healthy, dear friends. Be careful out there. And of course, for those of you that celebrate, next week we go into a very important time for many Christians, but also for a lot of Pennsylvania Dutch as we celebrate Christmas. I hope that all of you find time to be with friends, loved ones, family, to celebrate this joyous, joyous holiday. A holiday where we think about not ourselves, but giving to others, which I wish we would do more of throughout the year. Maybe that could be one of your New Year's resolutions. I will be with family. I'm looking forward to it, singing those carols, handing out presents, eating good food, eating lots of cheese, having good drinks and beverages. I wish that all of you, and I hope that all of you, are able to share that time with your loved ones as well. And then a week later, I hope that all of your tables are full of pork and sauerkraut, because as you know, good Pennsylvania Dutchmen, we can't not have pork and sauerkraut on New Year's Day. I hope that your tables are full with those two delicious foods to bring you into the new year 2026. And once we get into the new year, I'm going to keep bringing the Pennsylvania Dutch content every Friday as a Pennsylvania Dutch word of the week on the YouTube channel. Of course, I do a monthly blog on the website, and if you do follow us on social media, I'm posting all the time with other things, a meme every Monday, other silly things throughout the week, all ways for you to connect, reconnect, or learn about our Pennsylvania Dutch story. I promise you that's my resolution for the new year, to continue to bring that content as long as I can to all of you. You have always been with me throughout this journey over the last 10 plus years, 15 years. I thank you for journeying with me. I ask you to journey with me on into the new year. I wish all of you a Hallicher Grischtdaag, a Merry Christmas, and Glückseliges Neujahr, a very blessed new year. And I look forward to being with all of you in a month in January right here on PA Dutch Live. But between now and then, I'll see you on social media. Maybe I'll see you in person. But in whichever way I see you, a virtual hug or a physical hug is to all of you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Hallicher Grischtdaag, Glückseliges Neujahr. And as we say in Pennsylvania Dutch, when we say goodbye, we don't say goodbye. You know it. We say, Macht's gut.
Mag's gut zu dir, mag's gut zu dir, mag's gut zu dir für now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist, mag's gut für now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein, hoff du bringst zurück ein Freund. Mag's gut zu dir, mag's gut zu dir, mag's gut zu dir für now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist, mag's gut für now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein, hoff du bringst zurück ein Freund. Und so mag's gut, lieber Freund, mag's gut.